There's a couple of techniques that I'd like to show here. One is a technique of what I call progressive cutting. And I stress this on every project, but by progressive cutting, I mean if you have a project that requires 4 wires, 3 inches long, you'll measure the first wire 3 inches long, and that becomes the guide. And I move that 3-inch wire up the coil of the wire from the same end. I don't change ends, and if at all possible, I don't change wires. And by doing it this way, when you begin to put your piece together, you'll find that these wires line up very nicely. As you look at them under the light, move them under the light, you have a consistent play of light across the bundle, and they're all in a line. So the usual thing is to do that progressive cutting procedure for whatever number of wires you need, and tape. And I usually always just link my taping to one end, again, just a 1/2 inch or so, 1/2 to 1/4 of an inch from the end. And again, I tape flat, tape it across the wires, and then bring the tape together on the side. So that's what I've got. And you can see that they're well aligned. If they're not well aligned, you'll see one of the wires, or 2 of them that are darker or lighter that don't blend with this. And again, I say this just makes your work go much more easily. So it's kind of an important step. For wrapping wires, and this is the way we provide the structure for the wires, I use almost exclusively 21 gauge, half round, half hard, gold felled wire. It's pretty much a standard in the wrapping. Again, I cover this in every project, but I want to show it up front while you're not concentrating so much on the project. To start the wraps, I grasp the wrap with my flat nose pliers, and normally I get it right on the end, and I bend this toward me and I offset it to my left as I'm looking at it. In other words, I've offset this short end toward my left hand. And then I hook this wire, and normally I'll have it marked as to where I want to start. I hook it over the bundle, the 4, what I call primary wires, the main wires. And I do the first wrap by hand, just like that. All right, now I grasp this wire, and this is the way you get very tight wraps. I'll push this over, and I'm pushing it slightly to my left. See what I mean? Like that. So as I look at it from this side, it's to my left. Then I rotate the bundle, and again with the flat nose, I bring it down. And because I've offset it to the left, as I brought it down, the wire overlaid the previous wrap, and because it's half round, it forced it to fall right next to the previous wrap. And I'll do this one more time, or a couple more. Okay, I Again, I'm offsetting it to my left. As I bring it over, I should have gone a little further. I bring it down. Now watch the end of the wire as I bring it down. It will snap right next to the place as I see how it moved from over here to there as I put pressure on it. Do it one more time. You get very fast at this. Again, it's offset to the left, and watch the wire as it comes down. See it moved over adjacent to the previous wrap. And there it is again. And you can see the wires get very tight. Almost every wire artist, I can't think of any exceptions, get a little hump. The first wrap is usually a little higher than the subsequent wraps. So I want to take that out, and the way I do that is I grab the tail where I began, rotate it back a quarter of a turn, and I pull on the pliers, push on the bundle on the primary wires. In other words, I'm creating tension in this wire and wrap it back where it was, and then the hump is gone. Then when I get through with my wraps, I can cut both of them on the inside of the project. So that's the way you prevent that. So the important things here again were the progressive cutting and then the wrapping technique. And I always leave this short tail. I get that again when I make my first bend. I come down about a ½ inch and bend it like that. I'll show you one more time. When I'm starting with my half round wrap wire, I come down about a ½ inch. Again, right on the end of the pliers, and offset it to my left. That's what I have. There are other projects that we want this space to be bigger, where we are going around maybe 2 wires at a time that are lined up, and we do that on just about all of these border wrap pendants. The way we get that is, rather than to do this on the end, we move it up and then bring it over. And in that case, we have a wider center point than we do on this end, where we get it right out here on the end. So that becomes important on some projects.